Did you know that bipolar disorder is often mistaken for just being moody? In fact, nearly 7 out of 10 people with bipolar disorder are misdiagnosed, some for over 10 years before they get the right help. Let that sink in. That's over a decade of someone being told they're just dramatic, lazy, or too emotional, when they're actually dealing with a complex neurological condition. Hello friends, and welcome to Brainwaves. Today, we're going to unpack bipolar disorder. Not just the surface level stuff, but what's really happening inside the brain, how it affects people day to day, and why it's one of the most misunderstood mental health conditions out there. Section 1. What is bipolar disorder, really? Let's set the record straight. Bipolar disorder isn't just a roller coaster of emotions. It's a serious mental health condition that causes dramatic shifts in mood, energy, activity levels, and ability to function. These aren't just bad days or mood swings. They are extreme highs and crushing lows that can completely reshape someone's life. The key terms here are mania, feeling euphoric, energized, invincible, or irritable, impulsive, and downright chaotic. Depression, feeling hopeless, drained, disconnected, and sometimes unable to even get out of bed. It's like your brain went from Beyoncé to Beethoven overnight, and then to a sad sandwich on the couch. Section 2, where it starts, the brain on bipolar. So what's happening upstairs in the brain? Scientists believe bipolar disorder originates in the prefrontal cortex, amygdala, and limbic system, the areas responsible for emotional regulation, decision-making, and motivation. The prefrontal cortex, your logic and planning hub, can lose its grip during manic or depressive episodes. The amygdala, your emotional alarm system, goes into overdrive. And the limbic system, which helps regulate mood and memory, gets tossed around like a brain-shaped salad. Neuroimaging studies have found abnormalities in neurotransmitter levels like dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine, chemicals that regulate emotion and pleasure. So when someone says, "Why can't you just calm down or cheer up?" the answer is because their brain chemistry and circuitry are literally out of sync. It's not about willpower, it's about wiring. Section 3. The complexity of bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder isn't a one-size-fits-all diagnosis. There are different types, and each presents a unique set of challenges. Think of it less like one movie and more like a franchise, with sequels, spin-offs, and surprise plot twists. Here's a quick breakdown. Bipolar 1 disorder. Defined by at least one manic episode that lasts a week or longer. May include depressive episodes, but not always. Mania can get so severe that it requires hospitalization. Bipolar 2 disorder includes hypomania, a milder form of mania, and major depressive episodes, often mistaken for depression alone. This one is sneaky. Cyclothymic disorder, cyclothymia. Milder mood swings over 2 years or more. Doesn't meet full criteria for mania or depression, but still very disruptive. Other specified or unspecified bipolar disorders. Because life doesn't always fit into neat diagnostic boxes. These variations mean diagnosis is tricky, especially when someone shows more depression than mania, or vice versa. Section 4. Stigma and misunderstanding. Now let's talk about the elephant in the psych ward. Stigma. Bipolar disorder has been wildly misrepresented in movies, TV, and social media. It's often portrayed as just being crazy or out of control. But the truth is, people with bipolar disorder are not dangerous, not weak, and absolutely not attention-seeking. They're human, and trying to manage an internal storm the rest of us can't see. The stigma creates real problems. People don't seek help because they're afraid of being labeled. Employers misunderstand symptoms and write people off. Friends and family say things like, "You were fine yesterday." That's why empathy and education matter. Because words can heal or hurt. Section 5. Getting diagnosed. The long road. Getting the right diagnosis isn't easy. Because bipolar disorder can look like depression, ADHD, anxiety, borderline personality disorder. And because manic episodes can feel good, even euphoric, people may not report them. It often takes years of observation, patient history, and sometimes misdiagnosis before someone hears the words, "You have bipolar disorder." But that moment can be powerful. Because a diagnosis isn't a label. It's a starting point for healing. Section 6. Living with bipolar. Daily life in extremes. So what's it really like living with bipolar disorder? Well, imagine starting your day feeling like a superhero. You've got a dozen ideas, your confidence is through the roof, and you just emailed your boss at 3 a.m. with a 42-slide PowerPoint on why you should run the company. Then 2 days later, that same brain says, "Let's lie in bed for 18 hours and feel like a human error message." That's bipolar disorder. It's not just happy and sad. It's full-blown extremes that impact. Sleep. People in manic states may go days with no sleep and feel fine until they crash. Energy. Mania is like drinking 10 Red Bulls. Depression is like having all your limbs weighed down with sandbags. Appetite. 1 week, it's non-stop snacking. The next, food has no appeal. Motivation. Tasks like paying bills or taking a shower can feel either exhilarating or like climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops. Relationships. Bipolar disorder can strain communication, boundaries, and trust, even when both people care deeply. And yet many people with bipolar disorder find ways to build full, meaningful lives. Common misconceptions. Let's bust some myths. Myth 1. They're just moody or overdramatic. Nope. Bipolar disorder is a neurological condition with real, measurable changes in brain function. This isn't drama, it's science. Myth 2. People with bipolar disorder are violent. Actually, people with bipolar disorder are more likely to be victims of violence, not perpetrators. Myth 3. They should just snap out of it. That's like telling someone with a broken leg to run. You don't snap out of a brain disorder. Myth 4. Medication makes you a zombie. Wrong again. When properly managed, medication helps people stabilize, not sedate. Let's take a moment to recap what we've covered. What is bipolar disorder? A serious mental health condition involving extreme highs, mania, and lows, depression. Where it starts. In the brain, specifically the prefrontal cortex, limbic system, and neurotransmitter imbalances. Bipolar 1, bipolar 2, cyclothymia, and others, each with unique patterns and challenges. Symptoms: mood shifts, sleep changes, energy fluctuations, impulsive behaviors, emotional dysregulation. Challenges: stigma, misdiagnosis, loss of relationships, managing treatment. If you or someone you know is dealing with bipolar disorder, you're not alone. And no, you're not broken. You're human, and your brain just works a little differently. Drop a comment below, share your experience, your story, or even just your curiosity. Your voice might help someone else feel seen for the first time. And if you want to keep learning about the brain, mental health, and all the beautifully weird ways humans think, check out our next video on anxiety versus intuition right here on this screen. It's probably not what you think. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and stay open-minded.